Hey everyone, welcome back to Talking Cardboard, a channel where we do reviews, playthroughs, and top 10 lists for any game made out of cardboard. In this video, I'm reaching out to all of you, the viewers, for your help on whether or not I should keep or cull these 8 games from my shelf of shame. Let's get started. First things first, if you enjoy the content you see here on the channel, consider subscribing. It really helps us out a lot. Also, we've got a link down below to our Patreon page, where every dollar goes a long way at helping us upgrade the video content here on the channel and to help us coordinate our 24-hour live streaming events where we raise money for the children's hospitals. Let's get started with the first game here on today's list. All right, and the first game on today's list of my shelf of shame, where I'm reaching out to all of you to leave comments below on whether or not I should keep or cull these games. I'm really trying to look for convincing arguments for me to keep these games in my collection. I originally purchased all of these games for a reason, right? It's because I really do think I would enjoy these games if I ever got them to the table. They just haven't been tabled in at least a couple years now, so I don't know if they're really worth keeping in the collection or not. Let's start off here with a couple Stefan Feld games that I have on the list. The first one here is In the Year of the Dragon. It is an older game by Stefan Feld. As you all know, if you've been watching the channel for a while, Stefan Feld is one of my favorite designers of all time, and I like most of his games that are released, and I just haven't gotten In the Year of the Dragon to the table yet. From the research I've done on this game, I do know that this is one of his most punishing games out there, and I just really wanted to give it a shot because I've heard some great things about it. I know that it is extremely difficult, very punishing, a lot of negative points being thrown around, and it just comes down to, from what I've heard, the better you can withstand those negative events, the better you do in the game, and it sounds very intriguing to me. So if In the Year of the Dragon is worth keeping and worth trying, even though it is an older game at this point, let me know in the comments below if it truly is worth keeping or if there's just better designs out there today. Second game here, it is still in shrink wrap. I did back it on the Kickstarter, which is another Stefan Feld game here, and it's Amsterdam. And Amsterdam, I know that it re-implements his older game Macau, and I had never gotten my hands on the game Macau because of how expensive it is in the aftermarket. It's one of his more popular designs, one of his older designs again. It's always been $100, $150 on the secondary market, so I never picked it up. But I did back Amsterdam because I know it is the 2.0 version of Macau. I just don't know whether or not Macau is still worth picking up or if Macau is better than Amsterdam. I'm not really a huge fan of the production that a lot of Queen's games comes out with as far as the components and the graphic design. I'm not really sold on that. I almost like the old graphic design better, more of the old Eurogame look to everything. And Amsterdam, it's definitely it's brighter, it's got a brighter board, more colorful, but I don't know if the gameplay has changed enough to where I should just seek out Macau and try that out instead of Amsterdam before I crack this open, or if Amsterdam has really improved upon the older mechanisms that were first implemented in Macau. So let me know down below if Amsterdam or Macau is even worth playing at this point. All right, now getting into 3 games that are in my Calyx cubicle for my train games that are all on my shelf of shame at this point. Looking at them over here, I want to try each and every one of them for different reasons, and a couple of them are still in shrink wrap, one of them is not, but I have not gotten any of these 3 tabled at this point. So first and foremost, the newer version of Russian Railroads. This is Ultimate Railroads. Is Ultimate Railroads worth it? From everything I hear, this is some people's favorite game of all time. It is one of the best train games on the market at this point, from what I hear. It throws in all the expansions to Russian Railroads. From all the great things I've heard about it, I just had to get my hands on it, but I haven't gotten it played yet. I don't know what it is. I just think train games or the theme around trains don't appeal to everyone. I definitely like trains. It appeals to me. I like the theme of it. And from so many people out there I've heard give it a 10 out of 10 or one of their favorite games of all time, I really do want to get this one tabled eventually. But hey, if it's never going to see the light of day, why hang on to it? So leave comments below on if Ultimate Railroads is worth hanging on to and if I'm just a complete moron for not getting it played yet. So another train game on my list here is the, let's see, is it the third? Yes, it's the Iron Rail series, the third game in the Iron Rail series, and that is Iberian Gauge. I have played Irish Gauge, which is the first game in the series, and I know Iberian Gauge is said to add a little bit more complexity and a little bit more going on in the game with different shares of stock and building out tracks, building out different industries and railroads. I do like the idea behind this game because I'm looking to get more into 18xx games, and I think this would be a good stepping stone for that. I just don't know if it is even that good to hang on to, or if I should just get rid of it, or if I should just jump straight into the Ultimate Railroads or an 18xx game and just surpass Iberian Gauge altogether. I really don't know if it's worth it. So that is why I am reaching out to the board game community online here to try to convince me to keep it, or if it's even worth keeping, or if one of the other Iron Rail series games is better than Iberian Gauge. Let me know that as well if you have played some of the other games. Like I said, I've played Irish Gauge, but I think Iberian Gauge would add just another layer of gameplay complexity that would kind of suit my taste a little bit more. And now finally into the big granddaddy of them all, the most, I guess, one of the highest regarded 18xx games. I did end up picking up 1830, which I hear is one of the best or the first 18x games to start with when you're first getting introduced into the 18xx system. I know it's a very complex series of games. They take a very long time to play, sometimes upwards of 4 to 6 hours to play the game. I think 1830 is a little bit quicker than that. It's a little bit simpler on the 18xx system of games. So I did pick it up because I want to try it, but I've hung on to this one for a few years now in my collection, and it hasn't even been brought up once to get it played. I have a couple of groups of gamers that I play with, none of which are really too interested in train games. So is 1830 really that great of a game? Is it worth hanging on to? Let me know below. Try to convince me to keep it, and or try to convince me to get some better friends, I guess. So that is 1830. Okay, and now moving into the heaviest game on today's list. It is a Vita Lacerda game that is still in shrink wrap, and I'm very disappointed that it still is in shrink wrap, and I do hope to get it played soon. If not, just get rid of it. But let me know if On Mars is worth keeping. I have played a couple other Vita Lacerda games. Kanban EV is one of my favorite games of all time. If you've been watching my top 50 favorite board games of all time video series, you'll see that Kanban EV has made the list there. I'm not going to tell you exactly where, but go ahead and check those videos out. But On Mars is still in shrink wrap, and I think I'm just intimidated by the rule set. I think I'm intimidated to bring this game to the table with new gamers or even experienced gamers because I just hear there is a lot of rules overhead. But I've also heard that once you get past the rules overhead and you get a feel for how the game works, get a few plays of it under your belt, that this game is just fantastic. And I wholeheartedly believe in that. I just need to be convinced to hang on to this game because, like I said, it's been a couple years now, have not even taken it out of the shrink wrap. So is a game even worth keeping at that point if it's just going to remain in shrink wrap for the next 10 years? Probably not, but the thought of it and the idea behind how great this game is or how great this game can be and how great the experience can be has kept it on the shelf for me. So try to convince me in the comments down below on whether or not I should keep On Mars. Okay, and now on to the next game here, the final two games actually. So this is another Queen Games production, another older game at this point, but a game that has really intrigued me for many, many years now, even dating back to the first year I ever got into the board game hobby, and that is Fresco. I love my Euro games. I love my Euro game mechanisms. This one has a unique and interesting theme to it where you are mixing different paint colors and you are painters trying to paint murals on the ceilings and walls of buildings, and I just love the whole idea of trying to mix and match different paint colors to create this artwork and these murals, and I just think the whole theme behind it is really cool, and I have heard good things about Fresco as well. I know there's a big box version of Fresco with all the expansions in it. Is that one worth having over just the vanilla base game? I don't know. Maybe it makes the game better. Maybe it's not necessary. Maybe the base game is fun enough, but I haven't heard a ton about this game over the last 10 years or so. I just know that when I first heard about it back in the day, that the theme behind it sounded very interesting, and I know I like my Euro game mechanisms and trying to get points, and mixing the various colors of paint and doing paintings just sounds so intriguing to me. So that is Fresco. Should I keep it? Let me know. And the last game on today's list is very intriguing to me because I've always wanted to fill that void in my collection for a very well-designed one versus many hidden movement game. This just sounds great, and I've heard great things about it, but again, still in shrink wrap and has not left the shrink wrap in some time now, and that's Mind Management. I know Mind Management is an off-the-pages game, which I have enjoyed many of the off-the-pages published games. They essentially take a graphic novel series and turn that series into a game. And I've enjoyed, like I said, a couple of their other games. But Mind Management, it hasn't left the shrink wrap. I don't know why. Like I said, it's a one versus many game where one player is moving around the board. It's hidden movement. Nobody else knows where that player is. And the other players are trying to work as a team against that player who is hiding around the map. So it sounds fantastic. Sounds like a lot of fun. Everything I've heard online is very positive for this game. I have really not heard too many negatives about it. And a lot of other reviewers have said that Mind Management is one of the best hidden movement one versus many games that you can even get your hands on. So the publisher off the pages, it having a good track record with me for that, the production quality, the artwork on it, and then also that it fills that void in my collection for the one versus many hidden movement style games that I don't have a lot of. It's just very intriguing for me to hang on to it. But again, if it's not going to see the table, if it's not going to get any gameplay out of it, then why hang on to it? So that is it for the 8 games on my shelf of shame that have not either been opened and or played, and whether or not, let me know if I should hang on to these or if some or even all of them are not worth keeping at this point in my collection. So that is it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. I am looking forward to your comments below and your responses to all these games, and put a lot of trust in all of you to help me make these decisions. Until next time, you all have a great day and have fun gaming.